Guys, welcome back again to my channel. In today's video we are going to be testing out our very first golden rule pattern. If you haven't seen my video on where I embossed that pattern and I explained everything about it, please go and check it out. I'll post the link in the description. So this is the pattern book, and here is the particular one that I'm going to be making in this video based on popular demand. So I'm just taking it out simply, and when you turn to the back of that page, you find the pattern itself that we are going to be resizing to our size. So this is, for example, this is the sleeve. This part right here is this portion, and this one right here is this flare right here. And you know, we have the back, the front, and every single part of the dress. So what I'm doing is I'm just placing the pattern on my fresh pattern paper and I'm pinning it down, and all the measurements you need is just two. You need just your bust measurement and your waist measurement. So I have my own measured, and I'm going to be keeping it down right here. So this is the tape that came with this pattern, and that's what we are going to be using to resize this pattern to our feet. As you can see, it has the measurement already written on it. So for me, my bust measurement is 92. So I'm just going to put the pin that came with the pattern. I'll put it, there's a hole right there. I'll just dip the pin inside the hole right there, and I'm just going to pin it down the pattern. I'll show you later. So let's say your bust measurement is 126. You just locate 126 and you put the pin in the hole right there. Or but for me, my bust measurement is 92, and I'm just placing it right there. And on the pattern, on each pattern piece, there is a cross that looks like this. So that's where you are going to put the pin, just like that. So once you pin it down, then you're able to move your tape measure around, and then you can start taking the measurement. All measurements from your waistline upward, you are going to be using your bust measurement. I will show you later what I mean. And all the measurements from your waistline downward, you are going to be using your hip measurement. All right, so let's get started. In order to start transferring all the points, you will match the edge of your tape to this line, this little short line right here. So you make sure the edge of your tape aligns to that line, just like this. And once you align it, you will see that on that line is written 19. Then you should go to your tape measure and mark 19. As simple as that. So again, I'm moving the tape again to the next point, and here is 18. I'm just going to simply mark 18. That's it. Again, I'm moving the tape to the next point. It says 14, and I'm simply marking 14. But just make sure your tape measure matches perfectly with the line, the small lines that are on each point. So I'm now on my waistline, and there I have 20.5. All right, so once I'm done marking all the points above my waistline, I'm moving to all the points below my waistline, and I'm going to be using my hip measurement. The hip measurement I'm working with is 79, and there is no 79 on the tape because it's all even number. So when you have an odd number like that, then you should choose the next biggest even number. So I'm working with 79, and the next biggest even number is 80. So I'll put my pin at 80, and I'm going to put it right back at the cross, and I will keep measuring. Now I'll be marking all the points that falls below my waistline. So this point right here is the next point that I'm going to measure, and I'm simply matching the edge of my tape to flush with this line that is underneath that 39. As you can see, I hope it's clear enough, guys. Then you are going to go ahead and mark the 39 because it says we should mark 39 simply. All right, so that's what I just kept on doing all through the entire pattern. It's quite repetitive. So now that I am done marking all of the pattern, then I'm just simply connecting out the point. And once I was done connecting out the point, it looks exactly like the shape that I have in the pattern book. And up here I have it says that we should take 3.5 and rule it out. So that's what I'm doing right here. As you can see, it says we should take 3.5 and rule it out. So I measured 3 at first. That's 3.5 centimeter, by the way. So I took 3 at first, but I went back to add the ½ inch. So once I was done with the front pattern, I just took it out and I'm going to start doing the back pattern. It's pretty much the same thing, the same exact way, using my bust measurement to mark every point that falls above my waistline, and my hip measurement to mark every point that falls below my waistline. So I just kept on marking those points as well on my back pattern, and once I was done, I went ahead and connected all of the points together, and once I was done connecting, it looks exactly like the pattern again. And I just went ahead to put all the annotation as it is on the pattern, and I added my seam allowance. Keep in mind that there is no seam allowance on the pattern, so you have to add your desired seam allowance. So after adding my seam allowance around, I went ahead and cut out the pattern. So this right here is my back pattern. So once I was done cutting it out, I went ahead to test it out on myself real quick, just so I could check the length, and then I realized it's too long for me, which is just my personal preference. If you want it this long, it's fine. So now I want to make my pattern shorter, and I'm just checking out the length of the pattern. Currently it's about 32 inches long, and I want it to be just 28 inches. So that means I need to take out 4 inches from the pattern, right? And also from the shoulder line to my waistline is too long for me, so that means I'm going to be taking out some measurement from the upper part. So I decided to take out 1 inch away from the upper part and the other 3 inches away from the down part. Okay, so I'm just kind of randomly marking out 1 inch, then I check the measurement that I have here from the dotted line to my point, and is about 2.75. So I'm just going to transfer that same point right here, just so that the 1 inch I need to take out is even, is straight basically. So as you can see, mine was not straight at first. Then I went back to check and see and correct my error. So I just needed to move that 1 inch a bit up. So once I was done marking my 1 inch, then I'm just going to fold it in this way. So by so doing, now my upper part is now 1 inch shorter, and now it's my perfect fit at the upper part. So in case you come across this kind of thing with the pattern, this is how to just make it shorter to your size. So now I'm just checking to see my shoulder to waistline is about 11, and now it's perfect. So I need to take out the remaining 3 inches from the down part, and randomly I'm going to be marking that 3 inches again. So I'll check what I have here. So that means I have 2 inches from this dotted line, and then I'll take my 3 inches from there, just like that. So once I was done marking my 3 inches, similarly I will go ahead and fold it in this way. So by so doing, you're making your pattern shorter to your size, to your taste, without affecting the shape of the pattern itself. So as you can see now, I checked and it's 28 inches, and I went ahead and repeated the same thing to the other panel, which is my front panel as well. So now it's time to draft the sleeve. So the same way, I don't have to slow this down. If you want it slow, you can there's a feature on YouTube that you can make it slower. So I just went ahead and draft my sleeve pattern the same exact way, and I added my seam allowances around it, and then I cut it out. So the next pattern I'm drafting is this flare, which is going to be around the sleeve, and it's pretty much the same thing. The only thing here is that the outer curve is easier because it's clearer, the points are apart, but the inner curve right here, the points are just too close to each other, but it's pretty much the same thing. What you need to do is to ignore those points in there and focus on the lines. So similarly, I am using my waist measurement, which is 92. I put my pin there in the 92. I put it on the cross. In this case, you notice the cross falls outside the pattern, so I just put it on the cross, and then I started to draft out the point just like I did to my front panel. All right, so as you can see, I was almost done with the outer curve, and now it's time to draft the inner curve. So for the inner curve, what you want to do is to ignore those tiny points that are so close to each other and focus on the numbers that are out there. All right, so just keep matching the edge of your tape to those lines, just like I explained earlier. So just keep matching the edge of your tape to those lines and just mark the points, whatever number they write on the line. For example, I'm working with the 24. If you can see the 24 right there. Next there's 26, and next is this 23, and then 26.5. So I'm just matching it and marking. So just do that. Just put your tape to the line and put the points of whatever number they said you should write, and then you just notice that the pattern will come out. It's that simple. It's very, very simple, guys. All right, so once I was done doing all of that, you can see the inner curve is now out. So what you want to do is to go ahead and connect the points together so that it looks like what you have on the pattern. And as you can see, I'm using my curved ruler that came with the pattern where necessary, and then I'm using my freehand where necessary. So once I was done, this is what it looks like. I went ahead and added 1/2 inch seam allowance all around the pattern, just like 1 centimeter seam allowance basically, and then I am now cutting it right now. So you are going to go ahead and draft out the second one like that, because if you look at the pattern, it is 2 and they're a little bit different, so I just drafted them separately. So it's now time to cut out. So as you can see, I folded my fabric into 2, placed my front pattern on top of it, and I cut. I did the same for the back, and then I'm also cutting out the curve, the flare on the sleeve, just the same way. And as you can see, after cutting out, I went ahead and notched the center point of the front and the back. And as you can see, my sleeve is a little bit too long as well, so I also reduced it by about 1 inch, just like I did for the front and back panel. So this is what the cutting looks like, and I have 4 flares in total. So now I'm bringing back my front and back pattern, placing them right sides facing each other and pinning them together, and now I'm going to join them along the side. Once I was done joining them along the side, it looks something like this, and I use my overlocking machine, as you can see. The next thing you're going to do is set that aside and work on the sleeve. You're going to sew the sleeves individually, folding them right sides facing each other and stitching along this line. I will repeat the same thing to the second sleeve as well. So once that sleeve was joined, I have something that looks like this, and I also did the same to the second sleeve, like I said. All right, so now it's time to work on the curve. Place 2 curves together, right sides facing each other, and then you're going to stitch along here and stitch along here as well. You repeat the same thing to the second flare as well. So once that was done, I have something that looks like this. Okay, and the next thing to do is to bring in your upper sleeve, which is like the bicep, and then you're going to be attaching these 2 together like this, and this is how you're going to do it. I'm turning this one to the right side. All right, and then I'm locating the center point. You can notch it. All right, after notching, then I am going to be matching the notch point. All right, the notch point right here, I'm going to match it to this short to the shorter part of this flare, just like that, and then I'll pin it together. And then after pinning, I'm going to be matching the other side to the longer part. Just watch what I'm doing. So where I have the joint on the sleeve, I'm matching it to this longer part on the flare, just like so. So after matching it, I pick them on the wrong side and I'm pinning it together. If this video is too fast, there's a feature on YouTube you can use to slow it down. Okay, so I don't want the video to be too long. So after pinning them together all around, then you can go ahead and stitch that part together, and once you open it up to the right side, you will have something that looks like that. So now I was done joining that together. You can try your sleeve on your arm now. If it's too wide, make sure to slim fit back to your size. So now I just went ahead and put a contrasting thread to my feet, because when I tried it on, it was a bit too big, so I went to hold it in a little bit more. So now I'm trying to attach my sleeve, and this is how I am doing it. I put in the sleeve and then I'm matching this seams edge together like this. The sleeve is turned to the right side, and I put it inside the dress and match those sides together, as you can see. And then I'm going to go ahead and match along the armhole, and I'm going to sew by my seam allowance. All right, so now to this neckline right here, you can see that it's a little bit gathered. It's not flat or straight. You know, this part right here is 3.5, if you remember when we drafted it on the pattern. So I have that 3.5 already on my dress now, so but I need to take it out so I can replace it with that gathered looking thing, you know. So what I'm going to do is to take out 2.5 centimeters. So I'm going to have 1 centimeter left for joining allowance. So as you can see, I already marked out those 2.5 centimeter on the dress. So I'm going to replace it with this band. I will show you what I'm talking about. So then I'm going ahead to cut out this 2.5 centimeters now all around the neckline. By the way, guys, please leave this video a thumbs up. Thank you. All right, so I went ahead to try on the dress to see how it looks like. Then I realized it's a little bit loose around the neckline, so I decided to place some dart on it. In order to know how much dart I need to take, I went to measure around my neckline like so, and I made sure that the tape is firm on my body, just the way I want the dress to feel. And this measurement was 39 inches. All right, so then I realized I need to take 4 inches out, and in order to measure that's going to be 4 darts. So I'm placing 1 dart each along the sides like so, and then I'm making sure that the dart goes in direction of my armhole seam so that it looks aesthetic, even though it was like a correction, you know. So yeah, I went ahead and marked out the 4 darts like so, and I went ahead to sew it. So this is what it looks like after sewing in the darts. You can see it's looking pretty, even though it was a correction. So I also went ahead to cut out an elastic band, which was the size of 39 inches, which was the size of my shoulder measurement that I took, shoulder circumference. And I also cut out this strip. As you can see, the strip is longer than 39 inches, it's 58 inches, just because I want it to form the gathers that I want at the end of the day. So now you want to fold this strip wrong sides facing each other, and you are going to sew it all the way down like so. After I did that stitch, this is what the strip is looking like. And the next thing you want to do is to grab your elastic band using the using my safety pin. I'm inserting the elastic band in the strip like so. All right, and because the strip is more than my shoulder circumference, is going to gather up at the end of the day, and the elastic band is the size of my shoulder circumference. Okay, so once I was done inserting the elastic band, you can see it has formed the gathers, and then I'm going to be attaching it to my neckline. But before I do that, I'm finding the midpoint like so, notch that just for reference, and then I'm going to be working a little bit on this strip so that it looks exactly the way I want it to be. So first I'm finding the midpoint as well, so that it's easier for me to join them together eventually. So as you can see, I need to make this gathers kind of stay in place. So what I'm doing is I'm just kind of following the gathers that the elastic band has created on the strip. I am kind of folding, you know, I'm just following the exact thing that the elastic band has created, and I'm pinning it down. So I'm going to go to my sewing machine and stitch that down so that that kind of stays in place the way I want it to be. This could be optional, but I just found that it made it look good. And as you can see, as I'm pinning those gathers down, I am pulling the rest of the strip so that the gathers can even out as I'm working through it, if you understand what I mean. Okay, so once I was done pinning all of them down, it looks something like this. And then I'm going to take it to my sewing machine, like I said, and I am going to stitch those down. It's more like a pleat now, but it was formed by the elastic band. So I'm going to stitch them down so they can stay in place. And once I was done stitching, then I realized I shouldn't have stitched this part all the way to the end. So I went ahead to open it up a little bit. As you can see, I also opened the other end up, and I'm just using that pin to hold my elastic band so it doesn't go back in the strip. So what you want to do now is to put the two ends together like this, right sides facing each other. All right, and then I'm going to be stitching by 1/2 of an inch. I will join them together by 1/2 of an inch so that by the time I'm done, it's going to turn this strip into like a loop, like so. So now I was done doing that stitch, and I closed up that part that I opened in the first place. So now I am going to start attaching this to my dress, and I'm just going ahead to pin it all the way around, and I'm trying to make sure that the part that the loop, the loop joint ended is falling at the back side. It's optional, but it's cute. It's better to just make everything look clean. And as you can see, I'm just making sure everything falls evenly by that simple quick pull that I did right there. And now I'm going to go ahead and stitch it all the way around. So once I was done, this is what it looks like, and I overlocked the raw edges. Next thing to do now is to hem your sleeve and also hem the down part. Guys, you can slow down this video if it's too fast. There is a feature on YouTube where you can slow it down a little bit. I just don't want the video to be too long, so I'm just folding the sleeve. I'm folding it twice just to create the hem. I will do the same to the second sleeve and also the down part of the dress. And once that is done, go ahead and stitch it all around. And that's basically the end of the dress. It came out beautifully. I'm going to be showing you guys what it looks like. So guys, if you're interested in purchasing this pattern, there's going to be a link down below in the description box. So check it out and get yourself a copy. And if you haven't seen the video where I did the unboxing, you can check it out. I'll post the link down below as well, or right here at the end of this video. You can check it out. And yeah, so remember to leave a thumbs up for the video and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss awesome tutorials on my channel. I hope to see you again in my next one. Bye.